Good morning, Facebook, Instagram, YouTube, LinkedIn, and my new friends, Jargo Media. I want to thank my brother Wayne Overstreet and congratulate him and his partners on a new platform, one that gives you a lot more freedom to do the things you want to do on a social media channel. I know this is completely unannounced, but I decided to do it anyway because today is indeed a very special day because it's the day before Mother's Day. Very, very important day and time. I'm Dr. Cooper. I'm Dr. Coop MD, aka the one and only, and I am back. We are going to relaunch my podcast, Hanging with Dr. Cooper. We're going to have a variety of guests. We'll do some special kind of series, and we will also, from time to time, answer your questions. But today, something very, very, I guess, I shouldn't say disturbing, but just concerning to me is on my mind, and I want to talk a little bit about it. Um, Today or this week, we lost, and I say we, that means collectively, all of us lost another young black man, a friend of mine from New York. And we want to certainly give condolences and all of our prayers, thoughts of peace and comfort to his family in New York. I will not mention names because I have not asked for permission to do so. But they know who they are, and we love you. We want to comfort you and put our arms around you. But it got me to thinking back on something that I started many, many years ago. Many of you know that I published a book in 2016 called Heart Attack, Truth, Tragedy, and Triumph. And in that book, I talk about the my personal family history, and I won't go through that and reiterate that here. We'll get to that over time. The follow up to that has been many, many years in the making. But recently, a couple things happened that said, "Hey, you really need to kind of get back on this." One of those things is that my cousin Ernest Cooper, who is a part of Black Men Run, a group that's all over the world, as I understand it, but certainly very, very strong here in Atlanta and across a number of cities in the United States. And there's black men who just get together and run. Asked me to review a document for him that was informational for their group. And that really sparked me to say, you know what, there is a real, real need, hunger, and appetite, certainly amongst black men, for this information. And many of you know I'm connected in a number of different groups and organizations, and I get it all the time, invariably, everywhere I go. Hey, Coop, man, what do you think about X? Or the doctor told me this, or the doctor told me that. It's a never ending story. It really is a never ending story. So, over the last few weeks, it got me to really thinking about what can I do a little bit differently. Well, one, I'm going to talk about it. I don't see many talking heads out here, certainly bald heads like mine, talking about health specifically for black men. And many of you, okay, yeah, you want to. I'm not going to get into any divisional kind of things or race. This is for all men. If you want to listen, it may save your life too. And you know what I'm talking about. Okay, so all men, but in particular black men. Why? Because across the board, if you look at every category of disease, death, mortality, morbidity related to chronic illnesses, black men are affected at an exponentially higher rate than the typical comparative group, which is white men. All right. And so we're going to address that because culturally, there are some differences in how you communicate. And how do I know that? Because I'm one of them, A, and B, I get these questions and I'm often intrigued. And sometimes I'll joke with my friends and say, well, why did you ask your doctor that question? And it's a simple answer to that. They felt more comfortable asking me the question because they knew we're going to get it very, very plain and simple, and they're going to get it in a way that they can understand, and they're going to get it in a way that can become actionable. So I came up with this thing that I call the Black Men's Health Bible. And I'm going to kind of go through that. And I realized that it was actually the follow-up to Heart Attack, Truth, Tragedy, and Triumph that I started many years ago, because I went back and looked at some of my notes. I was in there talking about how I go running, ironically. And at that time, I was running. I was running with my buddy Roland Jackson and Dwayne. Oh gosh, Dwayne, you guys. Anyway, you're getting to that age, but we used to run every morning, 25, 30 miles per week. We would run, and so I was like, okay, well, I'm just going to put that in here too, But I no longer run because of some knee issues and back and neck and all the things that typically will catch up to you. But let's not get it wrong. This is not about trying to create the illusion of non-inevitability of death. We're all going to have to face that at some point. It's not about that. It's not about creating fear. Nothing here is about fear. What it's really about is creating a platform of information that's going to be credible. I'm going to give it to you raw. All of my friends who know that when they come and talk to me, I'm going to tell you like it is. I'm going to tell you about the healthcare system. I'm going to tell you about me, and I'm going to tell you about you as well. Whether you want to hear it or not, well, you always have a choice. You don't have to listen, but many of you do. And it's all done out of love and compassion for you and for what I do. So it's not about trying to invoke fear or any of those things. But what I really want to do is culminate this Black Men's Health Bible series that I'm doing into a list of things that are threats. We're going to talk about hypertension. We're going to talk about stroke, coronary artery disease, sleep apnea, obesity, mental health. We need to talk about that. That's something that Dr. Dave Satcher over at Morehouse School of Medicine was very, very keenly focused on through the Satcher Institute, and that is the mental health of African-American men. And so we'll talk a little bit about that as well. So what is to come? What am I going to be doing here? Well, over the series of the next several videos, we're going to kind of go through what I call the 12 threats. I use a little bit more strong words in my actual manuscript. I talk about these things being killers of Black men in particular, but they're killers of all men. All right. And so we're going to go through those. We're going to go through those from a high level. Oh, here it is. Yeah, the typical, this is going to do this or this is going to do that. We're going to talk a little bit about the traps, because many of you, my brothers, know that there are many traps out there. There's a trap of comfort. So let's talk about that for a second. High blood pressure. Well, I feel fine. Well, guys, let me just tell you something. High blood pressure is an asymptomatic disease. It doesn't have any real symptoms. Occasionally it may be picked up because you have a headache or something like that, or you just kind of feel a little dizzy and something's not quite right. But there's really it's very nonspecific, I should say, high blood pressure. And that is the problem. It's very insidious. And in fact, it's one of the leading causes of early kidney failure in young Black men. Why? Because adolescents and young Black men, people think they're athletes, they're running around, they don't have hypertension. Well, I've had high blood pressure since I was 18 years old, and was diagnosed with that when I was in medical school. Somebody said, why were you 18, you're in med school? Yeah, I went to a 6-year med school right out of high school. So just a little reminder of the bio. But that was really, really very, very informative for me at the time. I was a young medical student just trying to learn my way into becoming a doctor, but it got me. And so as I learned over time that there are a lot of young Black men who were just like me at that time, who probably now are on dialysis or because of undertreatment or a failure to recognize the fact that their blood pressure was a problem that many years ago. I feel very fortunate in that regard. Okay. The whole diabetes trap. I'm talking about traps now. We're going to get into this a little bit more as we move through the next series of videos over the next few weeks leading up to Father's Day, by the way. And I know Mother's Day is tomorrow. I haven't forgotten about you. I'm giving you a gift right now. I'm going to tell you what your gift is a little bit later. Let's talk about the whole diabetes trap. There's a big trap there, and that trap is Oh, well, the doctor told me I was, quote, borderline. I've been saying this for years. The doctors need to stop saying that. You're either not diabetic, pre-diabetic, or diabetic. Pre-diabetic means that you're headed towards diabetes if you don't get your risk factor profile under control. All right. Diabetes, pretty cut and dry. All right. Non-diabetics, pretty cut and dry. All right. What number do we use to sort of make that determination? Well, back in the day, they used to do all these fancy glucose tolerance tests and all of that. Now it's basically the hemoglobin A1C. The hemoglobin A1C is that thing that basically attaches to that sugar that attaches to the blood cells in your body when the blood sugar is really high. In a very simple way to put it, it attaches to those cells, and then we can measure that, and that's an indication that your blood sugar, serum glucose, has been high over a period of time. Okay, so that's another trap. Oh, I'm borderline. So what happens when you get told that borderline thing is you walk away feeling good. You go back to doing everything that you've normally done. But what you don't do is you don't basically make the necessary changes to deal with that, quote, borderline situation. You get comfortable in that, and I'm not being critical here. I'm just making observations. I've been doing this for a very long period of time, and very blessed to be in the position I'm in to even have this conversation with you. And I've seen also the ravages of it. All right. And so we're going to talk a little bit about that. We'll talk a little bit about all the craze now, which is GLP-1s. I've been a big proponent of it from day one. I've been a big proponent because of the effect of the weight loss. Very cautiously, many years ago, before even Ozempic was approved for diabetes, by the way. I was very intrigued by the patients that I saw who were on these medicines as part of the trial, as a matter of fact, who were losing weight. And I started following the data, and of course, there was a lot of concern amongst the researchers who were running these trials that, hey, did we do something wrong? But then they figured, wait a second, there's a significant weight loss component to these GLP-1s. And of course, as you know, the companies have gone on to get to do the studies and get the indications for treatment of obesity, which is a chronic disease, by the way. Now, what we now know, however, is that there are just a plethora of studies out there now that are showing that the GLP-1s are lowering cardiovascular risk and morbidity and mortality across the board. It's fairly consistent and uniform. Almost to the point now, as we know that these drugs are now indicated for heart failure, certain types of diabetes, because the risk of progressing on to heart disease and kidney failure and some of the other things. But it's almost looking like now that if you have any risk factor, you should probably be thinking, or at least having a conversation with your doctor about being on a GLP-1, independent of weight. But most importantly, if you are overweight or obese, you should really be having that conversation. This is almost like turning back the hands of time to the days maybe 20 years ago when everybody's reached aspirin. Well, aspirin has evolved over time because we understand the risk categories and the risk groups a lot better. And so the guidelines around aspirin, the dose of aspirin, who should be taking it, who shouldn't, primary prevention, secondary prevention, et cetera, has evolved because we have more information. And I'm sure that this information for GLP-1s is going to evolve over time as well. And so, but today, as it stands, it looks like we are in an era now where if you have a risk factor, you should potentially be thinking about being on a GLP-1. Okay, but back to the lesson at hand. So Black men, that's what the Black Man's Health Bible is going to do. We're going to go through each one of these, what I'm calling killers, a very strong word, and we're going to talk about it at a very high level. We're going to talk about the traps that you basically create in your mind. And we're going to talk about what you should do today, not tomorrow, not next week, not when you have your appointment with your doctor, but what you should do today. And then what the Black Men's Health Bible has is a grid that through every decade of life tells you what you should be doing or thinking about in terms of your overall health, wellness, and well-being. Okay. Now I say that because I know many of you out there, if there's nothing else that motivates you, I know this motivates you. And that is those beautiful kids walking around in your kitchen this morning having their breakfast. You want to be around to spend some quality time with them. You want to be around to see your grandkids. My buddy Wayne Kong, who used to be at the Association of Black Cardiologists, had a slogan: "Children should know their grandparents, or grandparents should get to know their children," or whatever the slogan was. All of my friends in the ABC know what that is. But it was really very, very meaningful. But children, you really should get to know their grandparents, but they can't get to know you if you're not around. So I'm really going to target over the series of the next several videos, Black men. Okay. And so mothers, on this Saturday, pre-Mother's Day, that is your gift from me, Dr. Coop, to you. I'm going to give you the gift of a son, a brother, a grandson, a father, a spouse, a husband, significant other, boyfriend. And what I mean by that indirectly is I'm going to pour my heart into this over the next several videos of this podcast that we are now relaunching with Hanging with Dr. Cooper. And in those videos, we're going to break down every single one of this. These are going to be actionable. Okay, I'm not going to sit here and tell you what you already know. You know it's a threat, and you know it's very, 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 very serious. But on this pre-Mother's Day, I'm going to give you the gift of that male figure in your life on whatever level. It's not going to come in a nice, beautiful package with a bow on it. It's going to come in a series of conversations that we're going to have over the next several weeks. That is my gift to you. And I'd like to say happy, happy Mother's Day. I have a mother who is deceased and died when I was 14 years old, as many of you know, from a devastating disease at that time, pancreatic cancer. And so we're going to wish her a happy, heavenly Mother's Day, along with all my sisters who are resting in peace at this time as well. Wish all of them a happy, happy, heavenly Mother's Day. And all of you a very, very happy, happy Mother's Day. But my brothers, I am talking to you, and I am going to talk to you. You know who you are, okay? You know, you call me, you text me, and you ask me your questions when you see me wherever. Hey, Coop, man, I got this. My doctor told me that. And there's no disrespect to your doctors, all right? And certainly I'm not here to replace your doctors, okay? I can help you communicate a little bit better with your doctors and ask very, very meaningful questions, all right? There's all kinds of testing out there now for various conditions and diseases, and it can get very, very confusing. I had a friend of mine a couple of weeks ago. He asked me, he said, well, Coop, I had, a little bit of chest pain. I've been having this little thing, and then, the doctor got an EKG, and so then he said that something was wrong. And I said, well, probably what he saw, because you do go see the doctor, is he saw a change in the electrical pattern on the EKG from the prior EKGs that you've had. So then that triggers, along with the symptom that you complained of, meaning, quote, chest pain, that we need to investigate that further. Oh, okay, yeah. So then they did this echo thing. Yeah, I said, so what did that echocardiogram show? He didn't really quite know. He's going to send me his information. I was going to try to help him navigate through that. But he said, oh, well, I did a stress test. I got on a treadmill. Okay. I said, well, did they give you any kind of injection, or did they he said they just monitored me and took the blood pressure. And the person who was doing it said that they saw something, and now they're going to do a different type of stress test. So what it's telling me in a layman's terms is that they saw something on an EKG that was perhaps aligned with a symptom, something that he complained of, that then now is being indicated that there may be a problem based on a stress test. And so now so what's happening, as I explained to him, is your doctors are escalating the testing to get to the bottom of the problem, and being very, very conscientious and thoughtful and methodical about it, okay? But what he can't do is he can't run from that. He can't basically say, oh, I was told everything was okay. I said, well, wait a second now. That's not what you're telling me. It's not what's being indicated. It's what's being said, if not explicitly, by the testing, that, if nothing else, by the testing and the series of testing, is that they have a concern. And so when they have a concern, you should also have that same concern. So we're going to get into this. All right. We're going to get into this over time and talk a little bit in depth about it. Oh yeah, and then and so the Black Men's Health Bible, yeah, it's going to be available in the form of an ebook that I'm working on. Man, I find that finding your voice in these ebooks, and even using AI, because I use AI to clean up my language a lot. Man, but to have your voice come through really can be a challenge in this day and age. And so just takes time. I just keep going back, iterating and thinking through how we articulate this story. The last thing I'm going to say, and this is just a launch, a live launch, relaunch of my podcast, Hanging with Dr. Cooper. And I want to thank, all of you all who have over the last, since I've sort of gotten away from doing this on a more regular basis, who just reach out, hey, we miss you, how's it going and what are you doing? But I got misdirected a couple of times, but that's okay. I'm back and doing some other things. But I really want to get back into this. And so on this pre-Mother's Day, we're going to launch a Black Men's Health sort of series over the next, I think I'm going to be able to get this in over the next 6 to 7 to 8 recordings. And it's going to be very, very meticulously done. We're going to go through it. My team is already working on some follow-up video shorts for your viewing pleasure. I know short attention spans out there these days, and so you're not going to be around forever. So we're going to do it in short video shorts, and also this new thing that I love on Instagram, this whole carousel thing, where you can literally scroll through, you get a headline and then you scroll through and you get a series of very, very poignant, to the point kind of facts. So we'll be putting that out. Okay, so again, Dr. CoopMD here, hanging with Dr. Cooper. I want to thank you all. I want to wish all the mothers a happy Mother's Day. I'm going to be back probably on Wednesday. All right. As one of my advisors said, you got to get consistent, Coop. Yeah, I know. When you're in my business, there's nothing consistent, because sometimes you get called unexpectedly for things that just need to be taken care of. So you all enjoy your Saturday. It's been fun. Drop me a line. Check me out on all social media. In particular, I want to say, check me out on Jargo Media. That is going to be the platform where we're going to build an entire health initiative. We'll be interviewing most of our doctors live from that platform, even beyond this whole men's health series that we're going to do in the next several weeks. I'll be bringing my guests back on. So if you know somebody that wants to come on and talk health and really break it down for our audience, then send them my way. Check me out on all social media at DrCoopMD. Peace, love, and blessings, and I'm out. Take care.